Alrighty everyone, this is Blackblood Raven, and I'm going to be doing my next deck profile today. God, I wish I would have found this deck out earlier, because I really hadn't been paying attention to the wiki when I had been looking at what new decks I was going to build, so I was mainly focused on making deleters. But then I saw this deck, and I'm like, I want to make this deck. The main reason I built this deck is because it kind of did, well, two reasons. One, I've always loved the whole reverse aspect of turning cards dark and evil and distorted. I think that's kind of a cool concept. And then it's also the fact they turned my first, real card, like, turned it from a pretty good card into an, oh my god, this card is amazing. What I mean by that is, well, you'll see that when I get to the grade 3s. But for now, we're going to start off with the grade 0s. My starter is Star-vader, Brave Fang. Doesn't he bear a striking resemblance to somebody? I'm just going to say that now. So what his ability is, if this unit supports a Link Joker and hits your opponent's Vanguard, and if your Vanguard is in Legion, you can send this unit to the soul and prevent 2 of your opponent's rear guards from becoming unlocked during your next turn. Really, really good. 4 heal triggers, 4 draw triggers, and 8 critical triggers. This deck is hyper aggressive. You're going to be wanting to hit with your Vanguard most of the time. Your Vanguard is basically going to be the main thing you're going to swing with that's going to have ridiculous power. But we'll get to that, what I mean by that later. So for the grade 1s is 4 perfect guards. I don't like quintet walls in this deck. 4 Star-vader bolt line. I'm starting to feel like this is a standard in most decks, in most Link Joker decks now. Basically what this guy does, if he supports a Link Joker and hits your opponent's Vanguard, you will Mega Lock one of your opponent's rear guards. One of the new units, which did take me a bit to get off one of my friends who got it from the sneak preview, I just call her Star-vader Marin, because that's pretty much what it is. Because if you look, bears a striking resemblance to Little Sage Marin. This card actually has a very, very busted ability. If your Vanguard is in Legion, and one of the units in your Vanguard happens to be Blaster Blade Joker, rest this, and you get 10,000 power. That's not broken at all. Then 2 of the card changers. Pretty much any time a unit would be is locked, you can discard a card and draw a card. I play this because I do like cycling through my deck a lot, and sometimes I just end up drawing trigger heavier hands, so I want to get them to the drop zone as fast as possible so I can do the Seek the Mate and do more crazy shenanigans with this deck. So next is, for the grade 2s, 3 copies of Star-vader Rata. Okay, attackers, very standard. I believe it's Star-vader Omnisium? I still call him Star-vader Railgun, because he has a giant fucking railgun. But what this guy does, if he hits your opponent's Vanguard, you can Omega Lock one of your opponent's rear guards. Now, I'm sorry guys, I don't actually have these yet. I managed to get a lot of the other stuff for this deck, but I couldn't get the 4 Legion rares. Mostly because the person who had all of my friends who I had access to get the cards either didn't have them or got rid of them because I got my deleter stuff off of a lot of my friends. But what this guy does is when he's placed in the rear guard and one of your opponent's rear guards is locked, you lock one of their rear guards. So we're going to move into the grade 3s now. 4 copies of Star-vader Imaginary Planar Dragon. Now, I was thinking about putting Venom Dancer in this deck just because, I had a cool concept with this deck that I wanted to try out, but then I'm just like, that takes away a bit of consistency from this deck, and I feel like Imaginary Planar is a bit more for sure card, so I decided to go with him. So what he does is, oh, by the way, he is a Legion card, so I need to show you guys what the Legion looks like. What he does is when he legions, well, no, not when he legions. If he is in legion, you counterblast 2, and you lock one of your opponent's rearguards for every Star-vader you have in the center column. So if you have your starter, imaginary planer, and Star-vader railgun, you lock 3 of your opponent's rearguards. Most of the time it is a triangle lock, so that's that. And pretty much the card that brought me, like, officially back into using Link Joker, and I'm, like, starting to consider this thing my avatar. 4 copies of Star-vader Blaster Blade Joker. This card, oh my fucking god, I've fallen in love with this card. Why, you may ask? What this guy does is he has an ability of Counter Blast 2, Soul Blast 2, lock one of your rear guards. That is why you play Marin. You rest it, give 10,000 to your Vanguard, then you lock it with Blaster Blade's ability. After you Counter Blast 2, Soul Blast 2, and lock one of your rear guards, you lock all of your opponent's rear guards. And then you destroy the Legion mate, if they're in Legion. But if that wasn't good enough, you can send a copy of any unit that's in your Vanguard circle into the Soul and give Blaster Blade Joker an extra critical. This card is really, really, really good. So, to put it simply, you can attack for 30k to crit on the very first time you Legion. Not only this being able to Omega Lock 2 of your opponent's rear guards, you have at least 8 other units in the deck that can allow you to Omega Lock. Applying a lot of pressure makes this card extremely dangerous for a lot of decks. I can't decide what I like more, this deck or Deleters. I'm starting to like this deck more, but enough about that. I'm going to go in to what is good about this deck and what is bad about this deck. What is good about this deck? What's good about this deck is it's really consistent a lot of times. It allows for me to apply a crazy amount of pressure. Sorry if you can see my grandma in the background, but it can apply a lot of ridiculous amounts of pressure, which also implies with what's bad about this deck. A lot of times, if you can't get that extreme pressure that this deck can do, you have a lot of trouble finishing off your opponent. I mean, locking 5 of your opponent's rear guards is really good, but if you don't draw Blaster Blade Joker, well, the deck's just like, meh. Marin becomes dead. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say there is a Grade 2 Searcher. It's like if you have... let me think. It's like if your opponent has 2 or more of their rear guards locked, when you call it into the rear guard, you search for Blaster Blade Joker. I mean, it's good, but I feel like running the 12k attackers is better, because it's just like another pressure card. So everyone, this has been my Blaster Blade Joker deck profile, and I will hope to see you all in my next video.